Hello, this is I or me. The fuck that means. Anyway, actually getting ready to film. Yeah, get ready to film. Me doing work playing some God of War, but I just wanted to stop and make this brief message. Um, Watching, it's something that's going on. I mean, it's not super viral, but it's somewhat very relevant. And every time I come on, I was trying to speak about relevant things, but I don't like to necessarily speak about like gossiping type things. But recently, the past few years in the media, we've been taking some hits. We've been taking some heavy hits, and we have this comedian, right? Name by the name of Hans Kim. He's on the Kill Tony show. Of course, he said some off the wall shit, like he's sick of us. A word? All right, that's all good, but here's the thing. You can see all these videos wanting to cancel him, this, that, and the other. This is one of those situations where we could just sort of sit back and let things play out as they are, and whatever he's supposed to get, he'll get. Because like last year, I started watching Kill Tony, right, and I started watching it because David Lucas was one of the comedians that was on there, and I had actually watched him a lot on the All Deaf channel. This is a channel with primarily content from a lot of black people in this channel, and one of the shows was Roast Me. So that's why when you see David on Kill Tony, he's always roasting because that's pretty much what he was doing a lot of at the All Deaf. He utterly blew up, and I'm not sure when Hans Kim actually started that Kill Tony, but I know he was there for a lot of seeing David Lucas blow up. And Hans Kim, he had like a recurring. He was always like a regular, so every week he would come up and he would tell his jokes. And one of his main bits that was sort of like a recurring bit was about him and his white girlfriend. I just hate when we're all fucking fetishized because of this. Because I mean, and that was a bit that he seemed to get a lot of traction on, so he kept it going. But it always seemed just sort of ugh. Then one day, a comedian appeared by the name of Cam Patterson. Now, from the first moment, his first set at Kill Tony, it was like immediate. Bam, you was just hooked. And it was sort of like a combination. It was like a vulnerability and a little bit of a naivety that really was so attractive. You know what I mean? As far as you just wanted to hear more from him. You wanted to hear what he was going to say next. And this was an every week thing. He was always like, it was like it seemed like it was a big draw. He just sort of really blew up. I mean, he was even to the point where he had one bit about him liking to hold rocks, and he was selling rocks. People were buying literal, like he would go outside or go to the I think his dad actually, because his dad would tour with him, but I think they would go to like a what they call those things, hardware store, and buy rocks, and just random rocks, nothing special, and just sell them. People would buy them. So you got Cam Patterson, black kid, of course. He's just utterly blowing up just from day one. And you have Hans Kim in the background, just sort of watching that. Now he was a regular, like I was saying before, but I don't know. He just seemed to not really get too much traction. I mean, when you start when your comedy just is based on the fact that you were dating a white girl, like it's like, and everybody dates around. It wasn't, there was nothing to the bit, but he had to sit back and watch Cam Patterson just utterly blow up. I mean, you had guests that were that would come on to the Kill Tony show. And I mean, these are seasoned comics that have been doing comedy for like decades, and they were fixated on Cam Patterson. It's even to the point now. This kid, Hans Kim, had to watch Cam Patterson now be a member of SNL. Now, that's historical. That's history. That's not nothing. I mean, Saturday Night Live goes all the way back to like the 70s, the 80s. This was a time where the only real medium we had was television. And, you had a few different sketch comedy shows, Saturday Night Live and Living Color. These shows are historical, not only just because of the fact that that was the only thing going at the time, but there's so many comedians that are birthed from Saturday Night Live, as well as in Living Color, but we're focused on Saturday Night Live. But they were they shaped comedy, they shaped media, they shaped the movie industry for decades, all coming out of Saturday Night Live. And now Cam Patterson is part of that. Now maybe Saturday Night Live doesn't have the same lore and luster they did back then, but it's still, there's a history to it. And whenever now you mention all these historical figures, Jim Belushi, John Belushi, I think Gilda Radner, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, Chevy Chase, Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, like, fuck, Cam Patterson is part of this now. He's in there. No matter what happens from here, he's part of that. He's history. He's part of the history. And Hans Kim is still on Kill Tony, I think, now. Doing his weekly bits. I haven't heard a bit in a while, but, and you could see his interaction with Cam Patterson. There was a little salt behind. He was real. There's a few times where, in interactions that you would see on screen, he was kind of salty with Cam, but I don't necessarily know if Cam caught on to it, but just his personality would just sort of brush it off. He never really sort of went back at him as Hans was always making these snide remarks. You never really see, Cam like go back at him. It was just sort of like the natural way he is. It just sort of like a shield against his bullshit. And he just did his thing. He blew up. You see him do the Kill Tony tour. It was pretty much him headlining, and then you would always see Hans Kim in the background, right? They tried to get him help, give him a push, but his personality just is real off-putting. And that's why he has to sit back and watch. And it's not just black people on the show. I mean, there are other white comedians too that are just doing their thing. You have other comedians, another black comedian like David Jolly's also doing his thing. So, Kill Tony, I mean, for I know there's some stuff going on or whatever. I don't really know specifically, but I do know that there are some comedians that have been able to blow up from that. And you got Cam Patterson from day one, from the first time he was on stage, and you have salty old Hans. I mean, we can sit there and make videos about canceling him, everybody get all mad, but you can just leave it up to fate, if you will. People are gonna just move on. This guy's gonna go off into obscurity, and our boy Cam Patterson is part of history. Salute.